Hello, everyone. Welcome to our lecture on the components of nursing research. In this session, we will go through the essential building blocks of a research paper. Think of each component as a puzzle piece. They work together to form a complete and coherent study. These components are not just for academic writing. They also reflect how professional nurses engage in evidence based practice. Whether you are preparing a proposal or learning to think critically about research, understanding these parts is foundational. So let's begin with the very first and most visible part of your study, the title. The title of your study is not merely a label. It is the first impression you make on your readers, be it your advisor, your panelists, or future researchers who might cite your work. When they see your title, they should get a clear glimpse of what your study is about. That is why we spend time teaching you how to write it correctly. Remember, the quality of your title reflects your clarity of thought and understanding of the research process. Let us start by talking about the purpose of the title. Why is it important? Simply put, the title serves as the gateway to your entire study. It is the door through which all readers will enter. If your title is vague, misleading, or too generic, readers may not fully understand what your study offers. But if it is well crafted, it invites the reader to explore more. In research, precision and focus begin with your title. It anchors everything else: your objectives, your framework, or even your methodology. Without a strong title, the entire structure of your paper could be compromised. Aside from being the gateway, the title also functions as your headline. It communicates the central idea of your research concisely. Imagine reading a newspaper. The headline gives you a gist of the story. That's exactly what your title should do. It should hint at the scope, main variables, and target population without being unnecessarily wordy. For example, instead of saying, a study on the compliance of nursing students to hospital policies, we might say, compliance to hospital policies among Level 3 nursing students during clinical duties. It's shorter but more packed with meaning. Now, let's break down the components of a well-crafted title, starting with the variables. Variables are specific elements or concepts you are investigating. They could be knowledge, compliance, attitudes, skills, or even health outcomes. Including this in your title is crucial because they guide the reader in understanding your research focus. For instance, if you are studying the effect of simulation based training, your title should make that evident. Leaving out the variables leads to ambiguity, which you should avoid at all costs. The next essential element is the population or setting. Who are you studying? Where is that study taking place? This detail narrows down the applicability and scope of your findings. For example, if your respondents are level 3 student nurses, that needs to be in your title. If the research is done during hospital duties or in a community setting, specify that. Your title should reflect these details to help readers determine the study's relevance to their own context or field of interest. Another important part of the title is the time frame, including the academic year or period of data collection helps situate your research historically. This is especially important for studies with possible time-sensitive variables, like behavior during a specific situation or compliance in a specific academic year. For example, saying school year 2024 to 2025 adds context and makes replication studies or meta-analysis easier in the future. Remember, research contributes to an ongoing conversation. That is why your timeline matters. And finally, your title must be specific, relevant, and researchable. Avoid general or vague terms. Saying a study on nursing is too broad. Nursing is a huge field. Instead, specify which aspect, such as saying clinical decision making among level 3 nursing students. Your topic should also be relevant to current issues or challenges in nursing. And most importantly, it should be researchable, meaning you must be able to collect data and analyze these data objectively. Think of your title as your North Star. It should guide your every step. Now that we've gone through the purpose of the title, let us summarize the key components that every research title should include. First, the main variables. These are the measurable elements in your study. Second, the target population. This is the specific group you will be studying. Third, the setting. This gives geographical or institutional context to your study. Finally, the time frame. Including all of this helps ensure that your title is complete, meaningful, and relevant. Let me give you an example of how these components come together. Look at this sample title. Level of knowledge and compliance to infection control practices among level 3 student nurses of College A during their clinical duties. SY 2024-2025. Let us dissect the title. The variables are level of knowledge and compliance to infection control practices. The population is level 3 student nurses of College A. The setting is their clinical areas where the students go on duty. The time frame is school year 2024 to 2025. This is an example of a comprehensive and researchable title. It tells us what, who, where, and when, all in one line. Now let's discuss what makes a title well written in terms of content. First, the clarity and precision. Avoid being vague or redundant. Say exactly what you mean. Second, make sure your title aligns with your research design and statement of the problem. They should be a perfect match. And here are a few things to avoid. Avoid phrases like a study on or an investigation of. These are unnecessary and eat up your word count. Also, avoid technical jargon or acronyms unless your audience is sure to understand them. And always remember, your study must be ethical and doable. If it is not practical in your context, don't include it in your title. Let us now go into the format. Our title should be concise. Ideally, not more than 12 to 15 words, excluding function words like of, in, or to. Apply the APA formatting or your institutional reference format. Use title case, which means you capitalize the major words but not the small ones. Also, check for grammar and clarity. Is the title grammatically correct? Does it flow naturally? And most importantly, does it reflect the scope and intent of your research? If your statement of the problem talks about compliance and infection control, these elements should appear in your title too. Lastly, always consult your research advisor before finalizing your title. They've seen hundreds of research titles and can give you guidance toward a more refined version. Ask yourself, does my title clearly reflect what my study is all about? If someone reads just your title, can they guess your topic, your method, and your focus population? If yes, great job. If not, keep refining. Remember, the title sets the tone of your entire research paper. Make it count.